So after 5 years of using my Ninja Flip toaster oven, the door hinge finally gave out. The door kept slamming down no matter how many times I tried to fix it. So it was time for a replacement, and that's when I spotted the Cuisinart Digital Touch Air Fryer oven on sale at Costco. I decided to give it a shot, and today I'm taking you through everything I tested, from burgers to pizza to air fried chicken. If you're new here, my friends call me Meme. I test and review kitchen appliances to see what actually works in a real home kitchen. So if you like honest reviews, hands-on tests, and a bit of experimenting, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Alright, let's get into this one. Inside the box you get the main oven, which has 1800 watts of power. You also get a rack, an air fry basket, a reversible griddle and grill rack, a baking tray, an instruction and recipe guide, and not forgetting the hidden crumb tray, which easily slides out from underneath. The interior is all stainless steel with 4 heating elements at the top. Under these is the fan. There are 2 heating elements at the bottom, and on the right side is a built-in light so you can easily see your food. Let's start with some measurements. It's about 14 inches tall, about 15.5 inches wide, and the depth starting from the handle all the way to the back of the unit is roughly about 16 inches. The exterior is brushed stainless steel, and there are 2 stoppers at the back to prevent it from being too close to your wall. I also like that the vent has a cover which forces the heat upwards rather than outwards, protecting your backsplash. The built-in handles make it easy to lift and move around, and the cord length is about 31 inches long. The oven has a sleek model look with a large window and a large touchscreen display panel. Setting the clock is simple. Press and hold the time button for a few seconds until the hour flashes and use the arrows to set it. Then tap the time button again to set the minutes. You can also adjust the sound level by pressing both function and dual cook together for about 4 seconds. The default is level 1. Press the arrow down for 0 sound and the up arrow to go as high as 2. I like to leave it at level 1. The oven has 6 main functions: air fry, grill, bake, toast, pizza and low, plus additional presets which you can access by pressing the function button first. Bake, pizza and grill have preheat time built in. For all the others, you can just run the oven empty for about 5 minutes before adding your food if you want to preheat it first. There's a fan speed button. For most of the settings, the fan speed will default to high and you can't turn it off. In bake mode, you can adjust the fan speed, so you'll leave it off if you want to use the low setting for delicate foods like cookies and cakes, and then press it when you want to use the high setting for bread and other baked goods. There's also a defrost option to use with the toast and pizza settings if you plan to cook from frozen. Before my first cook, I like to give everything a quick wipe and run the oven empty at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 20 minutes to help burn off any manufacturing and shipping residue. For my first cook, I started with homemade burgers using the grill, which must be used with the baking tray, and placed it on the upper level. I selected grill and I left it at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, but changed the time to 6 minutes before hitting start to let it preheat. When ready, I sprayed the tray with oil and quickly added the burgers, and you can not only hear the sizzle, but you can see the amount of smoke that the hot grill created. In just 3 minutes, the internal temperature hit 165 degrees Fahrenheit. They ended up well done instead of medium, but they were still juicy with grill marks. Next time I might reduce it by 1 minute because the grill was very hot. It started cooking the moment I put the burgers on them. Next I tested the proof setting, first coating both my deep still bowl and the dough, then covering it with cling wrap so it doesn't dry out. I placed it on the lower rack so it has enough room and used the preset 90 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. And it doubled in size perfectly. We split the dough into 3 portions, and of course we made pizzas. The default pizza setting is 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes, and it has a built-in preheat. So while the oven was preheating, my son got his pizza ready using the baking tray. When ready, we placed it on the lower level, but in just 5 minutes the pizza was ready to come out. Take a look at how amazing this pizza turned out. A golden brown crust with a beautifully crisp base, and it cooked all the way through. This was really impressive. As long as you preheat the oven, you'll be whipping out pizzas in no time. When using the air fryer basket, it also needs to be used with the baking tray. So I placed them in the lower level and decided to use the dual cook feature to cook my chicken and sweet potatoes. Selecting air fry, then dual cook, and the screen shows dual cook 1, and I set the temperature to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Then press dual cook again, which will show dual cook 2 on the screen. Then choose your cooking function. I used the air fry setting again. You can also use another function. I set it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. When I started the program, I noticed that the air fry mode doesn't have a built-in preheat. So I went back to dual cook 1 and I added an extra 5 minutes at the start just to preheat the oven. I always like to preheat when I'm cooking meat, chicken or fish. It helps create a better sear, better browning, and I find it cooks everything more evenly. After 5 minutes of preheat, I quickly sprayed a bit of oil to the tray to prevent food sticking before placing everything on it. The program starts with dual cook 1 settings to tenderize and cook, then automatically switches to dual cook 2 settings for a crispy brown finish. The window is great for checking on your food, and it's always a good idea to flip and rotate your food for even cooking. I noticed the sweet potatoes were starting to get a bit charred on the edges, so I took them out a few minutes earlier to avoid burning and let the chicken cook the full time. When done, I checked the internal temperature with my thermometer to make sure it was cooked all the way through, and when I cut into it, it looked a little dry to me, but everyone said it tasted great. Next time I'll use the roast function for the first cycle, since that might use a lower fan speed than air fry, which could help keep the chicken juicier. Then I'll finish on air fry at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for that crispy finish. Overall, it turned out really nice, and I'm glad I took the sweet potatoes out early before they all burned. It just comes down to experimenting with the right settings and figuring out the time. I used the broil function in the upper level for about 5 to 7 minutes to melt cheese on mac and cheese, and of course it turned out great. For toast, I tested plain white and sourdough bread. It's best to use the lower level for even toasting. The default is shade 4. I thought about changing it to 5 but then stuck with shade 4. The white bread toasted really nicely on both sides in 4 minutes. I had to add on an extra 2 minutes for the sourdough. Ever since then I've been changing the shade to level 5 for sourdough, which takes about 5.5 minutes, and it does toast really well. You can fit up to 6 slices on the rack comfortably. Cleaning has been pretty easy so far. I like to wipe away any grease first and not throw it down my drain. Then soak the tray and rack in hot soapy water. While that's soaking, I'll wipe down the oven once it's cooled down. And so far the stainless steel interior makes wiping grease easy. As long as you wipe it after each use, fingers crossed you shouldn't have too much issues with grease buildup. For cleaning the trays, I like to use a bristle brush to help remove tough stuck on bits, and then just give everything a good rinse. Here's what I like about this oven. The exterior stays cool even during cooking. Many other ovens I've owned and tested have been impossible to touch. You only need to hover your hand around it to feel the intense heat coming from it. This oven has been running for 10 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can still place my hand on it. That doesn't mean you should do it, but it's just to give you an idea of how hot the exterior can get. I really like the built-in cooling feature. It runs for about 5 minutes and it's a low humming sound. It's not annoyingly loud. It helps the oven cool faster after cooking. We absolutely love how pizza cooks. Even the bake setting works great. We made some savory puff pastries which puffed up beautifully. I also like that the rack has a 50% stopper when you pull it out. My Ninja Flip oven also had this and I've loved it ever since. Once you get the hang of it, the oven is generally easy to use. The modern display panel and large buttons really make it stand out. The viewing window and light are helpful, of course, but I wish the light would stay on a little longer than 20 seconds. The reversible griddle accessory is a great addition. I still have to try and use the griddle. Maybe fried eggs or pancakes would be a good start. I might try and put out another video using the griddle. Let me know in the comments if you want to see something. And these are just some annoying quirks I found. The clock resets if you unplug it, which I like to do, so I don't bother setting the time anymore. And this one is probably the most annoying thing about the oven. It does auto pause when you open the door, which is fine, but when you close the door, not only does it not auto resume, you have to first press the flashing program that you were using, then press the start button. It may sound tedious, but you won't believe how many times I've closed the door and simply pressed the start button and walked away, thinking that the oven has started cooking. There are definitely a lot of button presses needed just to wake the oven, access the menu, then pick a function, or making changes while it's cooking. You need to pause the program, get to the menu, and then pick another setting. It takes a bit of getting used to, especially if you're used to those air fryer baskets where you just set it and walk away, or you can switch to another function by tapping it and you're done. I did find the right side of the oven is hotter. I noticed it on the sweet potatoes, but just for peace of mind, I tested it again with tater tots, and you can clearly see that the right side of the oven is hot. Now this is normal on all ovens, you just have to know which side blows hotter so you can rotate your food accordingly. Overall, the Cuisinart Digital Touch Air Fryer oven is powerful, versatile and sleek. It can handle everything from burgers and pizza to chicken and toast. And I appreciate the thoughtful features like the dual cook, proofing and built-in cooling. There are a few minor quirks, but nothing deal breaking. It just requires a bit of stop and think before you walk away. My Ninja Flip gave me 5 solid years, and honestly this one's shaping up to be a good replacement so far. I'll keep testing it and share how it holds up over time, but for now I'm pretty happy with it. If you're curious to see how it compares or want to follow along as I test more features, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Alright guys, I hope you found this video useful. Please do leave a like, and if you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. I would really appreciate the feedback. If you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing, and I hope to catch you all in my next video.